A bakery can make a few trays of bread in the morning, but an industrial line can produce thousands of pão francês. The Brazilian French roll. Every single hour. With the same crust, the same color, and the same soft center. Welcome back to Factory Flow. Today we are stepping inside an industrial bakery to see how pão francês is made at massive scale. From flour and yeast to proofing rooms, steam ovens, and the moment those hot rolls hit the cooling conveyor. Pão francês looks simply small, golden, crisp on the outside, fluffy on the inside. But to mass produce it, the factory must control 4 things perfectly: hydration, temperature, fermentation time, and steam. If any one of those drifts, the bread changes: less volume, pale crust, a chewy bite, or a dry interior. Everything starts in the ingredient zone. Flour is stored in silos or bulk bags, then precisely weighed into the mixer. Water is measured to the gram. Yeast and salt are added on schedule, and many industrial bakeries also use small amounts of dough improvers to keep strength and consistency across large batches. Here, the recipe is not by feel. It is lot by numbers. Now the mixing stage. Large spiral or horizontal mixers knead the dough fast, building gluten, so the rolls can trap gas during fermentation. And here is the detail most people never notice. The bakery is not chasing a mixing time. It is chasing a final dough temperature. Too warm, and the dough ferments too fast and becomes weak. Too cold, and it ferments slowly and loses volume. So water temperature is adjusted to keep the dough in the target range. After mixing, the dough moves into resting and early fermentation. Yeast begins producing gas and subtle flavor. The dough relaxes, becomes smoother, and gains structure. Some plants use a short bulk fermentation. Others rely more on controlled proofing later. Either way, timing is everything. Because pão francês needs lift, but it also needs a clean, mild flavor and a light interior. Next is dividing. The dough enters a divider that cuts it into identical portions. Same weight, same size, every time. Those portions are rounded into tight balls, so the surface becomes smooth and ready for shaping. Then comes an intermediate rest. This short pause lets gluten relax, so the dough can be shaped without tearing. Without this step, the roll fights back, shrinks, and loses its final volume. Now shaping the dough balls become the classic pão francês form. Molders stretch and roll each piece into a short, oval cylinder with tension on the surface. That surface tension is what helps the bread rise upward, instead of spreading out sideways. After shaping, the dough goes into the final proofing chamber. A warm, humid room where the rolls expand. This is a controlled environment. Temperature and humidity are balanced so the dough rises evenly without drying out. Proof too little, and the rolls stay dense. Proof too much, and they collapse or bake flat. Right before baking, the signature cut happens. The long slash across the top. That cut is not decoration. It controls where the bread opens in the oven, acting like a release valve for expansion, and creating that iconic split crust. Now the oven. This is where pão francês becomes pão francês. The rolls enter a hot tunnel or rack oven, and in the first moments, steam is injected. Steam keeps the surface flexible, so the bread can expand fast, what bakers call oven spring. Then, as the bake continues, the surface dries and turns into a thin, crisp crust. This is the contrast people love. Crackly outside, soft inside. As the rolls exit, they look finished. But the factory is not done. They move onto long cooling conveyors, where heat and moisture are released gradually. Cooling is crucial if you bag plow Francies. Too hot, trapped steam turns the crust soft. So the bakery cools the bread until it reaches the right internal condition for packing or delivery. Now, quality checks. Color, weight, volume, crust, and internal texture. Industrial bakeries constantly sample product to keep consistency. Because in mass production, the goal is simple: every roll should feel like it came from the same perfect batch. Finally, packing and dispatch. Some pidao Francies is shipped in bulk trays for bakeries and supermarkets. Some is packaged for retail. Either way, timing is tight. Because this bread is famous for being best when it is fresh. And that is the industrial journey of pau Francis. Precise dosing, controlled mixing, portioning, shaping, proofing, steam baking, and careful cooling, turning simple ingredients into an everyday icon. Now, tell me in the comments, do you prefer pau Francis extra crunchy, or softer and warmer? If you enjoyed this full process bakery tour on factory flow, hit like, subscribe, and tell me what factory process you want next.
Based on the 93.mp4 video file you uploaded, here is a detailed analysis of the actual content appearing in the clip.